Hey, what it do, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again. And tomorrow, 1 o'clock, game time. This is for the division. You win this game, you clinch the division, period. That's all the Cowboys got to do is beat Tampa Bay. Now, as we talk about Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay comes in this game 5-9. Of course, Cowboys are 8-6. The Redskins lost today, so that helps a little bit. I don't know if they're out of contention yet, but the Cowboys got to do their job and win. That's all you got to do. So, Tampa Bay comes in this game. We know what we know about Tampa Bay. We know they have the best passing attack in the league. They played both of their quarterbacks this season, Jameis Winston and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, they've been dynamic and throwing the ball up and down the field, but basically turnovers have been their demise, and which is the reason why they're 5-9. Now, when you look at them on paper and you look at their stats are off the chart. You look at it and you're like, God, this team's got to be like 10-2, but again, the way that they're playing right now, they definitely. You would think that they were a 10-plus win team this season, but they're not. They've been throwing a lot of interceptions, both quarterbacks. We know that Jameis Winston had his 3-game suspension at the beginning of the year. That's when Fitzpatrick started. They kept him playing a little longer until he dwindled out, and that Fitz magic was no more. Then they brought Winston back, and he did well, and then he struggled. So they were really up and down. They were kind of interchangeable. So, you know, when I speak on these stats, you'll kind of get the picture of what I'm saying. So the Buccaneers come into this third on total offense. The Cowboys are 21st, of course. A lot of people say that the Cowboys are a dink and dunk team and blase, blase. It is what it is. I don't mind you dinking and dunking as long as you have chunk plays in between that, because at the end of the day, that dinking and dunking basically gets you those small yards so you can get into a 3rd and 4 situation or a 3rd and 2 situation, because we all know that 3rd and 2, 3rd and 5 looks so much better than 3rd and 11. So that's that. The Buccaneers come in 28th on defense, and the Cowboys are 5th on defense. We know that our Cowboys have a great defense. Well, we didn't show that last week with the Colts. I don't know. They fell kind of flat that game. But throughout the season, you've seen our defense man up. They've been doing what they need to do. Our cornerbacks have been batting the ball down. DeMarcus Lawrence and the Hot Boys have been getting to the quarterback. Our linebackers have been tackling. Everything has been working as one cohesive unit. But again, that is with the exception of the Colts game. But that's in the past. We're not going to talk about that. The Buccaneers, like I said, they're first in passing. As you see why, stat-wise, they're off the charts on that. The Cowboys are 24th in passing, which it's weird because when you look at this Cowboy team, you see the players that you have on there, and like, if we just can get this execution better in these games, I feel like they can go. It'll take them to a different level. Rushing, they're not that good at rushing. They're 28th overall in rushing, and the Cowboys are 5th. You know, with Ezekiel Elliott, and congratulations to him getting to the Pro Bowl. But as he says, he's chasing much more than that. He's trying to get to that Super Bowl. That's the only bowl he wants right now, which I'm okay with that. You know, but again, they have an uphill battle. If you play like you did last week, you're not going to be consistent in the playoffs. The thing about it, when you get to the playoffs, all that regular stuff that you do in the season goes away. You have to come almost with a whole new offensive game plan. That playbook kind of just goes on the back burner. You bring up a whole different set of guidelines and the things that you're trying to do with your offense when you get into the playoffs, because it's a whole different monster. Because if you do the same thing, you're not going to make it past the first round. That's period. So as far as the quarterbacks go, and again, I got to speak on both of them because they both played. So Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in 66.6% completion rating, 2,366 yards. Now, 2,366 yards. And again, both of these quarterbacks have been played interchangeably. Neither of them have played every game consistently. Before them to have that many yards, is you look at it and it's like you see why that they're first in passing. Jameis, he also had 17 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Now, one thing about these quarterbacks, they have been given gifts. It's been Christmas all year with the Buccaneers. Both of their quarterbacks have been throwing a lot of interceptions. And again, that was a part of the reason why they don't have more wins. Jameis Winston, he's 85.3% completion rating. And again, that's because he's, throwing a lot of chunk play balls and deep balls and things of that nature. His yardage is 2,311. He has 14 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. Now, 12 and 13 interceptions between them. Again, you're not going to win a game giving the ball away like that. Dak Prescott is 67.61% completion rating with 3,337 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Dak Prescott prides himself on not throwing interceptions, which I feel like he needs to just let that go, because what they always say, you can't make an omelet without breaking a couple of eggs. And when you throw deep, it's 50-50. You just got to make sure that you get the ball where it's supposed to be. If the defensive player makes a good play on the ball and he happens to intercept it, then it is what it is. It happens. You know what I mean? But the way that you do that is you come back stronger and you figure out where you messed up and you fix it, period. That's the whole reason why we talked about Linehan and his lack of ability to get Dak to this situation. When Dak makes a mistake, he has to, him and Garrett have to be like, look, in practice, this is where you fix this in practice. You go to your quarterback and be like, look, this is where you're going wrong. This is what we need you to do. And let's move forward with that. But don't take away the good things that he does. And I feel like that's what this offense is doing. It's been stripping Dak Prescott of the things that he likes to do. And the things that he does works. For whatever reason, they don't like it, and they're trying to form him into this quarterback that he's not. Now, as far as their running backs go, Peyton Barber, he's their lead back right now. He has 202 attempts, 762 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, you compare that with Zeke, it's no comparison. Zeke has 286 attempts, 1,349 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, Zeke also has some receiving yards. He has 72 receptions, 543 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the air. Coco, move. Move. Now, as far as their receiver core, we know they have some weapons out there. Their tight end, Cameron Brake, that's a big guy right there. He's going to be a load for Byron Jones or whoever they get, whatever DB they put on him. But we know Byron Jones is the best on this team at covering tight ends. So I think that what they need to do is get him to bracket and play that zone on whatever side of the field that the tight end playing, and pretty much be up top on him, and or they can, if they're gonna go nickel or whatever, they can have Leighton Vander Esch covering them as well, because again, he's a great sideline to sideline tackler, and I think that he'd be good on the tight end in that capacity, because again, you get body on body, you got to get the right guys when it comes to that. I think that Leighton definitely can do that, because if you look at the games that he's played before, he's pretty much contained a lot of tight ends and things of that nature, just off of the strength of him being at the right place at the right time. And you got to give it to the young boy. He's been doing well with that. Mike Evans has 74 receptions, 1,328 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, He's getting the ball a hell of a lot. But again, with 5 touchdowns, he's not getting into the end zone as much. You would think that with that many yards as a receiver, you would have more touchdowns. But they're getting a lot of yardage, but they're not always punching the ball in the end zone. Now, we always say that the Cowboys have been but don't break defense, how they've been in the past when we used to have what they call the orphans. But they're not the orphans anymore. These guys are players. They have talent now, so your identity is different. Deshaun Jackson, which we know Deshaun Jackson has always been a Cowboy killer when he was with the Redskins and when he was with the Eagles. Every time they played against us, no matter what the issue was, Deshaun Jackson was always there to get you a quick score on the Cowboys because that's what they used him. And he was definitely our kryptonite. Deshaun Jackson has 40 receptions, 750 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now, his stats are a little funny because he didn't play the whole year. He's had injuries and things of that nature. It's ironic that he comes back and plays against us, but you know, we're just unlucky like that. But again, I look at it like this. When we play teams, I want us to beat them straight up. You get all your best players. We got our best players on the field, so there's no room for these analysts out here to be like, hey, you won because such and such didn't play and these things like that. They come up with all types of cockamamie stuff, so it's really annoying when you think about it. Amari Cooper, 66 receptions, 954 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And of course, 6 of those 7 were here with the Dallas Cowboys. Dynamic receiver, you got to put him in position to take advantage of that defense any way that you can. And that stuff that Linehan pulled by not playing and putting him on the bench like that, that's ridiculous. However he feels about what people say, it is what it is. Make a change. If multiple people are saying that you're not doing something, then maybe it is you. Maybe you are the issue. But some people just look at it like this. It's like when you tell somebody they may have a condition, but they don't go to the doctor to get it checked out. It's the same situation. Like, you know, you don't take the criticism or you don't make changes when people criticize you. It's not like it's just one person saying it. These are multiple folks that are basically saying that you are not getting the job done and you are holding this team back, period. So as far as injury goes, great news for the Dallas Cowboys. As I reported in the last video, Zach Martin is coming back. Su'a-Filo is coming back. Su'a-Filo, as you know, he hurt his eye in the game. He actually got poked in his eye by Lyle Collins with his thumb. So that's what happened. It was his own offensive lineman that accidentally did it. I mean, it really sucks though, because you get hit in the eye. That's a scary thing because that's your vision you're messing with. And your vision does more than just your sight. It actually is your equilibrium. You know, everything, your ear, nose, and throat are connected just like your eyes and your brain. Like everything, the nerves and stuff from your eye sockets affect your mental as well. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you see people where they look at TV screens or computer screens all day. A lot of them come home with headaches because your eyes are straining. And again, these parts of your body are important. Now, he should be playing as well. I think that they limited both of these guys because they want to make sure that we get them on the field on Sunday. Period. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But that's exciting to get these 2 back. So hopefully it helps our blocking when it comes to protecting the quarterback because that's what Dak needs right now. Jeff Swain, I talked about him. The Cowboys finally put him on IR because medical staff said, hey, you know, we're not going to be able to pull this screw out of the hand and it's not going to be good enough for him to play on it because you don't want to risk re-injury. So they went ahead and put him on IR. They brought Darius Jackson up from the practice squad, which hopefully if they incorporate him and some wrinkles, that'll help. David Irving is still out. You know, I stopped talking about that one. Anthony Brown, he's been dealing with back spasms, so he's going to be a game time decision. So we'll see what's up with that with AB. You know, another one too that's been out for a while, Tavon Austin. He It's not on the injury report, so it looks like he's in and he's going to be playing. So if that is true, if Tavon Austin plays this game, you definitely have to utilize him in that return game and on those underneath routes. You kind of hitch him like you do with Cole Beasley. And he's fast, so they're not going to be able to stop that at all. So I'll go into keys to victory. So I got quite a few of them on this one. As we know, when we got that donut by the Colts, that put a nasty taste in every fan's mouth. And you don't want to see your team get their lunch handed to them. And that's just beyond, you know. And I know some of you fans were sitting at home like, oh. Me, I hate when we lose because I hate seeing the trolls come out of their woodworks. That's the biggest thing for me when it comes to losing. And it just, you don't want to see your team lose. You don't want to, especially in a fashion like that. I used to brag on my Cowboys all the time about how we never get shut out. We ain't been shut down since 2003, and then all of a sudden, I said, Lord, this is going to be a field goal game. But we never even got a chance to kick a field goal. That's a shame. It is what it is. It's over and done with. That's done. But as I talk about these keys, these said keys to victory, you have, my biggest thing is you got to start out fast. You got to start out fast. You got to start out aggressive. Make sure that when you're on offense, if the Cowboys get the ball first, go out there and punch them in the mouth the first play. You gotta get because if you get Tampa Bay, see, Tampa Bay is not really a quitting team, but because of their record, they know that they have really nothing to play for at this point because they're not going to playoffs. You have to make them quit. You got to go out there and start making plays to the point where they just like, I ain't even gonna rush to pass the dog because it ain't even gonna matter. So again, get these Tampa Bay Buccaneers on their heels, and you're gonna win that game. Period. And you've heard it here first. Just throw the ball downfield. Get Zeke in motion. Throw some screen passes. You're gonna have Tavon Austin. Hopefully, you get him in the game. Do some jet sweeps. Do something with Tavon to get him back acclimated with what you're doing on offense, because he's been out for a little while, and you get rusty. So, also with that too, complete passes on third down. It's been too many times where we'll end up 4th and 2, 4th and 5 situations. You have to come into this game thinking to yourself, we're going to get this yardage. We're going to do what we can to win. Because if you don't have the will to win, then what do you have? Nothing. Just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. 2, contain Mike Evans in their offensive passing game. I already spoke on how dynamic they are in their passing game, how they get so many yards per game. You got your quarterbacks busting 350, 400-yard passing a game on a consistent level, but then you see that they lost that game, and you're like, how did you do that? So again, they're gonna throw you some eggs. You just gotta find them like it's the Easter basket. You gotta find them eggs, and and that's the ball. You gotta get that ball, turn it over, and give it back to your offense. Period. Because Mike Evans is a big receiver. He's 6'5", and he might as well be a tight end. Because you got him and you got Cameron Brake. I mean, the Cowboys definitely going to have their hands full with these guys, but I think that they'll come up with it. I don't. Again, how you beat Tampa Bay is, 1, you make them quit. 2, force them to turn the ball over, because they will do that 3-4 times a game. You have to dictate what's going on, not them. Oh, win the time of possession. You got to win the time of possession. Because the less likely their quarterback is on the team, the less likely they're going to do anything. That's all I'm saying. And I mentioned this too. Get pressure on Winston. that boy gonna throw you some. He gonna give you some gifts. So to get these gifts, you gotta do the hard work. You gotta go out there and put pressure on him, and you gotta make sure that get him flustered. Make sure that he's not picking things up on the sideline where it's like, okay, well, let's counteract that. Because as soon as a quarterback figures it out, you have to figure something else out to counteract what they're doing. And what I say before, we have an issue with making in-game adjustments. And again, you come into a game with a game plan, yes, all day. But you have to take into account that something can happen, the other team changes, and you're just sitting there doing the same thing. And then you wonder why you can't win. It's not rocket science, y'all. It's simple. Establish dominance in the run game. Give Ezekiel Elliott the ball and let him run. He's hungry right now. He's got a bitter taste in his mouth from losing last week because, as Ezekiel Elliott's mom tweeted the other day, you cannot. Ezekiel Elliott has been playing football since 2012, and 2002, and he's never been shut out in a game like that. Never dropped a donut. So that was personal for your boy. So looks like my phone about to die too. But one more thing. Win the turnover battle. Again, get these turnovers. When they make some mistakes, hustle for the ball, get it back for your offense. Live to see another drive. Limit penalties and basically block for Prescott. We had way too many penalties in that Colts game. It seemed like every other play we had a penalty. You got to fix that and you got to do better. And block. Offensive line, you got Zach Martin back and Sulo Filo back. Block, block, block. Get these open lanes for Zeke and give Dak time to pass the ball. So, with that being said, y'all, that's all I have. Let's win this game tomorrow. I would say Cowboys 27, Tampa Bay 10. So, let's get this win. We're going to be at Lucky's tomorrow again. It's an early game, so let's get it popping, y'all. It's your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow after the game.